It was supposed to be a routine catering gig. For Elena Rivera, moonlighting as a server at elite events was just a way to pay off her sister's medical bills while saving for culinary school. She wasn't supposed to brush shoulders with New York's elite, let alone lock eyes with him. Julian Wolfe, the millionaire tech entrepreneur. Charismatic, elusive, rumored to be emotionally unavailable, and standing at the center of the ballroom in a tailored midnight blue suit that looked like it cost more than her entire apartment. Their eyes met for less than a second, but that was all it took. He looked away first, but not before a flicker of something unreadable passed through his gaze. Something dangerous. Chapter 2. 3 nights later, Elena found herself back at another Wolfe Foundation event, this time at a private rooftop in Manhattan. Rain threatened the sky. She was adjusting silverware when a deep voice stopped her cold. "You have a steady hand," he said. She turned, heart tripping. Julian. Closer than she'd realized. His cologne hit first, clean, warm, like cedarwood and something else she couldn't place. I used to paint," she replied, startled at how honest she sounded. "Still do." "No time," she murmured. He nodded like he understood too well. Then his lips curled into a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Make time. Beauty doesn't wait." Elena watched him walk away, pulse thudding. She couldn't tell if she'd just had a conversation or entered a game. Chapter 3. Over the next 2 weeks, Julian kept appearing. A morning coffee at the corner cafe. A visit to the downtown food truck she worked at on weekends. Always brief. Always leaving her off balance. Until one night, he invited her to dinner at his penthouse. She said yes, against her better judgment. The view was breathtaking, but not more than the way he looked at her, like he was trying to memorize something he'd been missing his whole life. They talked about art, childhood, wounds hidden behind ambition. Then the air thickened. When he touched her face, it was hesitant, reverent. His kiss was like the first drop of rain on parched earth. And when he pulled her against him, Elena felt everything she'd been denying rush to the surface. Desire, confusion, fear. But just as fast as the moment bloomed, it turned. Chapter 4. That night, while wrapped in his arms, Elena reached for his discarded jacket and found something that didn't belong. A silver flash drive in the inside pocket. She hesitated, but curiosity won. Inside were encrypted files, financial records, offshore accounts, names of people, powerful people. One in particular made her blood run cold. Her father's. The father who'd disappeared 10 years ago without a trace. She backed away slowly from Julian, her heartbeat a thunderous drum in her ears. Did he know who she was? Was this all a lie? A game? Julian stirred in bed and sat up, sensing the shift in the air. "Elena?" His voice was low, almost dangerous. She clutched the flash drive behind her. "I need to go," she said. "Elena, wait." But she was already out the door. Outside, the city lights blurred through her tears as she ran down the street, heart-shattering. Who exactly was Julian Wolfe? And worse, had she just fallen in love with the man who destroyed her family? Chapter 9. Through smoke and fire. The flash grenade detonated with a deafening crack, sending shockwaves through the apartment. Elena screamed, disoriented by the searing white light and ringing in her ears. She dropped to the floor as shards of glass rained down around her. Julian grabbed her, pulling her into the hallway. "Move, Elena," he shouted, dragging her through the smoke. They barreled down the stairwell, skipping steps, her legs barely keeping up. The building shook as another explosion rocked the upper floors. Was this a warning or an assassination attempt? Out on the street, a black SUV screeched to a halt. Julian shoved her inside. "Drive," he ordered the man behind the wheel, a grim-faced stranger in tactical gear. Elena gasped for air, coughing. "Who are these people?" "They're not just after data anymore," Julian said. "They're cleaning house. And we're next." Chapter 10. Hours later, they arrived at a secluded safe house upstate, an old hunting cabin Julian said belonged to someone he once trusted. Elena sat near the fireplace, wrapped in a blanket, hands still trembling. She looked at Julian. "Tell me the truth. All of it. No more lies." He sat across from her, firelight dancing across his bruised face. "I joined them once," he said slowly. "Years ago. I was young, greedy. I thought I could change things from the inside." Elena's heart clenched. "But your father, he was the one person who saw the rot. He tried to expose it. They made him disappear." Julian's voice cracked. "And I did nothing." Her breath caught. "So why now?" He looked at her, raw, unguarded. "Because I met you. Because I'm done running. And because your father left something behind. Something powerful enough to bring all of them down." Chapter 11. From his backpack, Julian pulled a weathered leather-bound journal, the one she'd seen before. Elena's fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside were hand-drawn maps, scribbled codes, and a list of names. At the end of one page, scrawled in her father's familiar handwriting, "If you're reading this, Elena, you're the only one I trust. Finish this. Burn them down." Tears welled in her eyes. Julian leaned closer. He didn't just uncover a conspiracy. He found proof, irrefutable evidence. And it's hidden. Where? Julian hesitated. "I think it's buried beneath Wolfteca's original headquarters, the one that burned down 5 years ago." Elena's breath hitched. "The fire, that wasn't an accident, was it?" Julian shook his head. "It was a cover-up. And your father knew it." Suddenly, a red appeared on the window pane. Then another. Sniper lasers. Julian lunged, pushing Elena to the floor as bullets shattered the glass. She crawled toward the journal, grabbing it as Julian reached for the emergency hatch under the rug. "We're out of time," he said, eyes burning with urgency. "And there's something else you need to know, something about your mother." Elena froze. "My mother? What does she have to do with any of this?" Julian opened the hatch, glanced behind him, then whispered, "She's alive, Elena. And she's working for them." Chapter 12. Julian's words echoed in Elena's ears as they sprinted into the forest behind the safe house. "Your mother's alive. And she's working for them." It didn't make sense. Her mother had died of a car crash when Elena was 9. At least, that's what she'd been told. But now, after her father's disappearance, the journal, the flash drive, nothing felt real anymore. They stopped at a clearing, breaths ragged in the cold night air. Julian handed her a flash drive from a hidden pocket in the journal. "She's part of the Phoenix group, the same people your father tried to expose. He found out she'd faked her death to protect you. Or so she claimed." Elena stared at the drive in her hand, heart torn between truth and denial. "How do I know this isn't another lie?" "You don't," Julian said softly. "But I know where we can find her." Chapter 13. They made it back to New York, disguised and moving like shadows. Beneath the burned-out ruins of Wolfteca's original HQ, a bunker still existed, hidden beneath layers of charred steel and silence. They broke in using codes from her father's journal. The tunnel was dark, the air thick with dust and secrets. At the end, a vault. Inside, they found it, an old server unit, still functional, untouched by the fire. Elena plugged in the flash drive. Files decrypted. Names. Contracts. Blackmail. Bribes. A spiderweb of corruption that tied billionaires, government officials, and her mother. Elena stared at the screen, her heart cracking open. Then a voice behind them. "I never wanted you to find this." They turned. There she stood, her mother, alive. Older, colder, wearing black gloves and a gun at her side. "Elena," she said softly, "I did everything to keep you safe. You lied to me." Elena's voice broke. "You would have died with your father if I hadn't disappeared." Julian stepped in front of Elena. "If you loved her, you'll let her finish what he started." Her mother raised the gun, aimed it at Julian. "You've already taken enough from her," she whispered, and fired. Chapter 14. Julian collapsed, clutching his side, blood soaking through his shirt. Elena screamed, catching him as he fell. Her mother stood frozen, shaking. Elena rose, heartbreaking, and slowly approached her. You can still choose, she whispered. You can help me expose them, redeem something. Her mother's hand trembled, and then she dropped the gun. Sirens blared in the distance. Julian had triggered a silent distress signal. Elena uploaded the files remotely to an encrypted whistleblower site. Within minutes, the data was live. Names, evidence, everything. The Phoenix Group was finished. Chapter 15. 3 weeks later, Julian was recovering in a private hospital under federal protection. Elena stood by the window, watching the sunrise. The world had changed. Arrests were sweeping across the country. News outlets buzzed. Her mother had vanished again. Some said witness protection. Others whispered otherwise. But the truth was out. And Elena had become the woman her father believed she could be. Julian stirred behind her. You're really leaving? She nodded. Not for good. Just for now. I want to go to Paris. Culinary school. A fresh start. No lies. He smiled, tired but proud. You've always had the recipe for something extraordinary. She walked to him, leaned down, and kissed him, soft, lingering, final for now. I'll come back, she whispered. I'll wait. On her flight, Elena opened the last page of her father's journal. Something she hadn't noticed before, a folded note tucked behind the binding. In her father's handwriting, love is the only truth worth dying for. If you found it, don't run from it. She closed the book, tears in her eyes. She hadn't just fallen for a millionaire. She'd fallen into the truth, survived it, and come out stronger. And maybe, just maybe, she'd find her way back to him again. 6 months later, Paris. The Seine shimmered gold beneath the setting sun as Elena closed her laptop and stepped out onto the narrow balcony of her Montmartre apartment. Below, the streets buzzed with quiet life. Painters, lovers, the clink of café glasses. Her culinary training was nearly complete. She'd been featured in a local magazine. She'd found purpose. But a piece of her heart remained in New York in a hospital room where a man had once whispered, I'll wait. She thought about him every day. A knock at the door. She froze. No one was supposed to visit. She opened it slowly. And there he stood. Julian. No expensive suit this time. Just jeans, a soft shirt, and eyes full of something unspoken. He looked older somehow. Softer, calmer. But when he saw her, really saw her, his lips parted like he'd finally breathed after holding it for months. Elena, he said, voice rough. She stared, stunned, her heart doing backflips. What are you doing here? She whispered. He took a step closer, holding up a small silver ring between 2 fingers. I came to see if the woman who saved my life still had room for me in hers. Her breath caught. Tears filled her eyes. I thought, maybe you moved on. I thought about it, she said, voice trembling. But every recipe I created, I wondered if you'd like the taste. Julian smiled, slow, sure, and unmistakably his. I'll be your taste tester. For life. If you'll have me. She launched into his arms, and he caught her like he always would. Strong, steady, completely his. The Paris skyline burned behind them, but all she saw was him. Her home. Her truth. Her love. If you like this video and you want more of it, ensure to subscribe to my channel.